right, hello and welcome. This week we are just going to take a brief look at a movie that Zach saw and I did not. And that movie is what, Zach?
1517 to Paris.
The new Clint Eastwood movie.
Yes, the new Clint Eastwood movie. Yes. We're going to kind of do a new format where we kind of do question and answers more so. But one thing I would like to kind of get out ahead of this movie is that this is a movie that is meant to very much kind of look at like the average American soldier kind of thing. And I feel like that idea, being it is very much go USA military a little bit and providing the heroism of the people that are in the military, that is what this movie is meant to kind of portray in like just the simple, 20-somethings that are in the military.
Did it succeed?
No, it did not. If you were around during the, it was in 2015 was, I believe, when the original attack occurred, and the amount of news that went on around that time, if you had just seen that, there's no reason to go see this movie.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not, not very good.
Yeah, I understand that obviously they brought in the actual people who were the soldiers, and the event itself wasn't that long. So
No.
what made up most of the movie? Was it a long movie?
It was, I think an hour 40, something like that. It was relatively long. I don't think it was 2 hours. The movie kind of begins. It doesn't kind of begin. It begins with them driving in a car, and you have 3 friends, 2 of them that are active military service, and 1 that is just works a normal job. And they're like, and that's the narrator. That's like, oh, hey.
Oh, there's a narrator?
Well, he narrates a little bit.
Okay.
Not throughout the entire thing. The story begins by him saying, what do you think I'm doing with these 2, white boys in this car kind of going down the road? He's African American. And he's like, well, let me tell you how it all started. Flashback to 5th grade.
Okay.
And then, yes, so they begin at 5th grade and they go through their story of how they all met. And like the kids they're kid actors. But I don't blame the kid actors, and I don't blame the actual people that went through the events as being bad actors. Were they the greatest? No, they're not trained actors. But they were reading lines that somebody wrote. And those lines were terrible.
You don't say. Okay.
Like, they were playing airsoft. The kids. And they're walking around. And they're like, ha ha ha. They all fall down on the grass. And they're like, oh man, war is so cool.
That's a line? Okay.
That's a line. It's like, and it's just so ridiculous. And I think then you get to the adult actors, and basically what happens is, and again, I preface this as saying this is a war movie. It's not. It's just about soldiers, them being people more so.
Okay.
And they basically what happens is the main protagonist, the central focus, the person that actually tackles the guy, the terrorist on the train, he's the central person of the story, and it goes through his him wanting to join the military. He doesn't get into the right military school that he really wanted after really trying a lot. He was like a big guy. He went to the gym. He lost a lot of weight. Finally could do the training and pass it. But then it found out that he didn't have depth perception, so he couldn't be a paramilitary person. And there was like, oh, dang it. And then he had to do like a survival school or something, another branch of the military.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that sucks. But hey, you know what? I'm sorry. Get over it. I love the military. Thank you for protecting our borders.
I'm proud to be an American.
But all right, so the story continues, and they all have like a week off essentially, and they decide to go gallivanting around Europe.
Okay.
So that part, it's nice, but it is as if somebody on that trip just filmed what they were doing and saying. Like this movie really made me consider like when I'm speaking in those situations what I'm actually saying, because a lot of it was just like. The scene when they're getting on the train, for instance, is like, oh, hey, you're going to take the window seat? Cool, thanks. I'm going to take the single seat, and I'm going to put my bags up here. Is that cool? Is that good? And the guy's like, oh, sure, works for me. And, like, that dialogue is so robotic, and it could have been done in the same way as if they had just done it without saying anything. It would have worked just as equally. That's one thing that it was very much...
Well, does it seem off because it's not normal movie speak, or did it seem off because you were telling actors or people who aren't actors to say what you would normally say, but because they're trying to do it for a movie, it doesn't work? Or
that's probably my question then. I don't know this answer. Is like that seemed to me like, oh hey, we're gonna run like don't read your lines for today. I don't even know if there were lines, to be completely honest. It's just like, oh, hey, we're doing the beginning of our train shoot today. What did you guys say in this situation? And they're like, oh, well, I just said, I'm going to go sit down in the seat. And they're like, okay, well, let's act that out now. And they did it. Like, I have no idea if there's a script written for this. I assume there was. But it seemed very much not like movie speak, because if you're entering a train or if you're going to sit somewhere, the last thing you want to say is like, oh, I'm going to take this seat. I don't think I've ever said that. Even when you walk into like a restaurant with a large group of friends, you all kind of awkwardly gravitate towards a seat and then sit. I don't think I've ever been like, I'm sitting here. Is that okay?
You will take the seat closest to the kitchen.
Exactly.
I will take this seat because I will need to use the restroom.
That never happens. And then even, and then maybe it's part of them telling their story. They have all of the resources in the world to tell their own story. They're on a, where were they now? I think they were in Venice in Italy or something. They were on like a, gondola or something like that. Like not a gondola, but a large boat. Mm-hmm. And there was like this girl that was there, and basically he's like, oh well, hey, you want to take our picture or a picture with us, please, or whatever. And she's like, oh yeah, sure, okay. Takes the picture, and then he's like, oh hi, I forgot the guy's name, but he's like, oh hi, this is who I am, this is my friend. And she's like, oh okay, where are you guys from? It's like, oh, we're originally from California. And she's like, oh my god, I'm from California too. And they're like, oh hey, we're gonna go to this place. You want to go all together? And there's 2 American guys and there's this 1 LA girl. And they're like, oh, well, we're all from the same place in a foreign country. Let's all go to a place together. I've never, like, that just freaks me out as a person. Like, if I was that girl, I'd be like, I just met 2 random guys in a foreign country. Oh, yeah, let's hang out with them. They go to this plaza. They have dinner together. Maybe that's because I'm not a social person, but, like, that just seemed very off-putting to me.
Is this a reflection on the movie or a reflection on yourself?
I think we're learning more about me.
Okay.
But that was just very awkward to me. Just didn't seem natural. But then again, looking at the context of this movie, the entire 80% of it was building up to this event. Now, with that being said, the event itself was very cool to have witnessed.
Okay.
They're on the train. You see the terrorist board. The way the terrorist is actually introduced is the first part of the movie before they get into like the flashback is this person, a normal person walking onto a train, but they film it from like his feet angle kind of.
So you don't see who it is.
So you don't see who it is, exactly.
It's like executive decision.
Okay.
There's a person who has the controller for the bomb.
Oh, okay.
And the whole time they keep referring to his seat and they keep showing you the woman sitting next to him, or they show his hands or like above his head, but you never see his face until it's revealed who it is. So,
yes,
okay.
Same exact concept and idea. That came across as very cool. Now, the way that the scene plays out is basically the shooter never has the opportunity to even get to fire off his gun, but in the one instant that he does, you have the main character who actually he's running at a person with an AK-47 finger on the trigger, but the gun doesn't fire because he didn't take, I guess, like the rubber off the first, like in a clip or whatever, the first bullet doesn't fire. There's something like that. It just the first bullet didn't fire correctly, so he obviously able to take the gun away, and they get into like a fist fight. And at one point, it's just like the 3 Americans beating up on the guy kind of thing. And
is it filmed well?
It's filmed. I wouldn't say it's filmed like. There's nothing remarkable about the filming. It's just cool to see a historical event or like this play out, I guess.
All right.
And that scene as well, the one that is seen throughout the trailer as well, that initial running at thing where you just see him running towards the camera, that is also seen in a flash when they were kids. He says, all I want to do is like help somebody or do something meaningful with my life. And then there's a quick flash forward to him doing that thing, and then it comes back. And the entire, I guess, through line of this film is everyone keeps bringing up, oh, hey, I really feel like something meaningful is going to happen. Something really life-changing is going to happen. And they say that a lot throughout the entirety setup of the film, so they can justify something meaningful happening at the end. Fight scene happens.
I feel like that kind of takes...
Yeah, but again, you're going into the 15-17 to Paris, you know something's going to happen on the 15-17 to Paris.
I watch the news.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is the news as well. Like, before I get to the very, very final scene, I also want to just briefly mention, it really makes you question the logic of people's decisions in a high-stress event as well. Because at one point, before they get on the train, they help an elderly man onto the train because his, I guess, daughter asks for help, and it's like, oh, you guys look like strong Americans. Can you help us get on the train? And at one point, I'm like thinking, oh, like they're just showing how nice these people are, and it's fine. And so they separate or whatever. They go to wherever they separate, and they're like, oh, nice for meeting you. Thank you very much. You know, or you're welcome, whatever. They go away. Once they have the shooter pinned down and he's no longer a threat anymore, the guy that helped that person on the train goes back into that train car with the AK-47, brandishing it. He has it, muzzled down and everything, but he's kind of brandishing it to the horror of the people that are in the back of the train because they don't know the identity of this shooter. But guess who's in that train car? The woman and the father. And she turns to everyone. She's like, "It's okay. He's a good guy." And I'm just thinking to myself, like, this must have happened in like the actual scenario, because imagine. First of all, why would they even say that it happened? But the fact that this guy didn't have the presence of mind to keep the gun away or dismantle it, he just walks to the train car with a AK-47. And they don't know that he's good. Those people are in absolute fear. But it's only because that one woman knew she was good that we could trust him instead of like attacking that guy. Yeah. It was an off-putting scene.
This reminds me a little bit of a tangent.
That's fair.
Last week for my job, I was sent somewhere with a crowbar to dismantle some stuff. Thinking about it now, I was just wandering through halls around a bunch of kids with a crowbar. I wonder if anyone thought maybe this is a threat.
Yeah.
So we're learning a lot about ourselves today.
I think that's important.
Sorry, quick aside.
No, but again, it makes you question. Maybe that's a PowerPoint, not intentional, but a power of this film. It's like, okay, think about yourself when you have a weapon of some kind and how you're perceived to others. It is immediately threatening to anyone that does not see. If you don't have a police badge, and even if you do have a police badge on with a high-powered weapon, people are going to fear it no matter what. But also, we're also talking about this in the context of, the Parkland shooting happened, about a week ago now. This kind of speaks a lot to maybe the gun debate that's going to happen in our country for the rest of time. But this is on... but I don't think this movie is saying yes or no to either of that. It's not the point.
I know Clint Eastwood says yes to guns, so...
Yeah, but even so, like, in that scene, he was saying, in this case, guns cause fear. It caused chaos. Okay. But thank God there were American heroes on that train that prevented it.
Do you think that was the goal he was trying to get? Or was it...
Okay. After I get to the final scene, I'll explain to what I think the goal of his film was. The final scene as well is what they did was they took the actual news footage of the president of France's speech when he was referring to giving the heroes on this train the Medal of Honor, and it's cool because you saw when there was the front framing one where it's president talking to camera, that was actual footage.
Okay.
And then as the camera kind of warped around, it was the actors being filmed, okay. And you saw like the mother standing in the background, like, "Oh my God, that's my son!" And it's also Jenna Fisher, Pam. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That was another thing. I was watching the show. I was like, they got a lot of sitcom actors to just play these mothers. Yeah, so it's the secretary from Arrested Development and Pam. So
I also think a lot of that's just like. Again, those actors, their job was to be the concerned mothers that love Jesus, and they played that well.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into the religion aspect of it. These boys went to a religious school because they thought that God was going to give him the best, the best education kind of thing. Is that the end? No.
Goal? Like, is that... Well, because you almost said, like, there's, like, a divine purpose thing, and he's like, oh, well, like, I wonder if...
I had not considered that until this moment. I believe that, yes, the people that took part in this event believe in destiny. They believe in their God-given purpose to do something. I don't think that's the message of the film. I would also argue that probably a large majority of military personnel are somewhat religious as well. Okay. So I think that's more of resonating with the fact that the people that protect our country are doing so for their country, but also for a higher purpose. I don't think that's the call of the movie. I think the purpose of the movie is something heroic happened in our recent history. Usually when these things happen, you have, like I said, the news clips and you get the information. You never get to see the event as it played out. I think that if you were to take the last 20 minutes of this film, it would make an awesome short film and have in those like dialogue moments. What I think this was is if you were to take an hour-long documentary and where you have the talking heads kind of thing where it's like, well, then I was sitting on the train and I saw that guy and I was going to do this. This is basically just high production budget reenactment kind of.
Okay.
That layers
But it's
in.
not even because they even got the same guys.
I know.
So
That's what's kind of
that's
interesting
weird.
about
Yeah.
it is it's the real people that went through this event are reenacting it and going through what they saw as the moments leading up to it.
Okay.
And then the expansion of the story comes from, well, why were they there in the first place? Answer that question. Well, this is what led them to be there and have these professions. So I really think this is just, in some ways, it's wrong to call it an experimental film, but it's saying, okay, we have a 2015 historical event happen. This is something that goes down in history. We're going to retell it in 2018 with the actual actors to see how that works. And I think
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
And like watching the trailers, it was like starring the real heroes who did it, and I was like, this makes it somewhat interesting. I'll still probably see it at some point because why the hell not?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I don't see it as necessary though.
Okay.
I think I would have been more interested to see just a regular standard documentary of how everything played out. I don't know. My personal opinion.
Okay. And just
think
as a little way to end this, you just talked about like destiny and just basically how everything has a purpose, and one could see that as a sign.
Oh boy,
Now,
this
if we
one's
look
gonna be
at
tough.
if we look at this movie, actually it isn't. Jenna Fisher is in this movie. She was in Blades of Glory with Will Ferrell, who was in Daddy's Home 2 with Mel Gibson, who was in Signs.
Oh
Signs, Sealed, Delivered. It's Signs.
man, if only they had gotten the actual mother to play that part, it never would have connected.
I never would have connected Signs. Well, we hope you appreciate this little quick review. And Zach, would you recommend this movie?
No, I would not recommend it. I mean, if you're a proud military person, go see it. If you believe in God's given destiny to protect America, go see it. But if you want to know what happened, watch the 20 minutes of news coverage that was actually shown in the film, and you'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Well,
I love America.
thank you again, and have a good night.